In the late 1960s and early 1970s, the energetic High Iron Company arranged a number of steam excursions in New Jersey, Pennsylvania, and New York. Bill McClellan was on hand to shoot 16mm movies of them. Here we are on September 16th, 1968, as former nickel plate S2 Berkshire 759 heads for Jim Thorpe, Pennsylvania, on the Central Railroad of New Jersey. The handsome and powerful locomotive is on loan from Steamtown, then located at Bellows Falls, Vermont. Number 759 heads for the turntable at Jim Thorpe. Although the engine is still in the Steamtown collection, now at Scranton, Pennsylvania, it is not steamed in 20 years. A sister locomotive, number 765, is in active fan trip operation out of Fort Wayne, Indiana. Other nickel plate Berkshires are in museums and parks. There seems to be a problem getting number 759 off the turntable. Has the pilot truck derailed? Too much or too heavy a locomotive? Well, after a quick conference and strategic placement of wood blocks, the massive steamer gingerly inches off the turntable. It is then time for the engine crew and hostlers to service the engine. First, the air-powered Alamite grease gun lubricates the locomotive's running gear. Then, the ashes are cleaned out of the ash pan. Meanwhile, the fire department quenches the thirst of the panting steamer. All watered and serviced, number 759 puts on a fine display of smoke as it returns to its train at the Jim Thorpe station. The imposing spired structure is an excellent example of a Jersey Central station of a century ago. A railway museum is located there today. Number 759 puts on a memorable display of steam power and action as it digs in and highballs out of Jim Thorpe. Number 759 has been opened up by its engineer and is really rolling. Even those Jersey Central standard commuter coaches dating from the 1920s behind the locomotive are vintage vehicles in their own right. No wonder a number of tourist railroads bought many of them when they became available about 10 years ago. And another excursion behind number 759. Note that a second auxiliary water tender is behind the locomotive. The rotating Mars light is near the top of the smoke box, just under the bell. The locomotive is working up the old Erie Railroad main line to Port Jervis, New York, on a fan trip on May 30th, 1970, headed to Buffalo, New York. The passenger equipment has also changed dramatically. Another High Iron Company excursion with another steam locomotive borrowed from Steamtown. This time, former Canadian Pacific 462, number 127. Again, headed to Jim Thorpe, with a little initial help from a vintage diesel. Number 127 is really number 1278. For nearly 10 years, it was shorn of its last digit as it ran off the miles at excursion service and at steam time. A Lehigh Valley Railroad freight train waits on the siding for the passenger extra to clear. Number 127 and its train pulls into Lehighton. The locomotive has been turned, and the train leaves Lehighton on one of many nostalgic, memorable steam fan trips of only a quarter century ago. What rosy-hued memories we have of them.
That's it. I'm out of here. So I'm funny, huh?